He used to wake up at 5:47 a.m., not because an alarm went off, because his mind did. The room was always dark. His wife slept on her side, facing the window. He would lie there for 3 minutes, watching the faint glow from the streetlight touch the edge of the curtain. Then he'd get up. By 6, he was already answering emails. There was a coffee shop he passed every morning, a small place with a chalkboard menu and mismatched chairs. He never went in. He told himself he didn't have time. At his desk, the hours moved differently. Morning became afternoon without him noticing. He'd look up and the light outside would have changed. Someone would walk by and say something about lunch, and he'd realize he hadn't eaten. He was good at his work. People said so. He was reliable. He hit deadlines. And when he made things happen, he felt something close to calm, not joy, just the brief, thin relief of not falling behind. His son turned 7 that year. There was a small party, balloons tied to the mailbox. The boy opened his presents in the living room. He got a train set, the kind with wooden tracks that clicked together. He sat on the floor that evening and tried to help his son build the track. But his phone kept buzzing. He checked it twice, then 3 times. The boy didn't say anything. He just kept connecting the pieces by himself. Later, he told himself he'd play with him tomorrow. Tomorrow was a Tuesday. He had a meeting at 9, then another at 11. By the time he got home, his son was already in bed. His wife said he'd asked for him. He went upstairs. The boy's door was half open. The train set was on the floor, finished now, the tracks arranged in a wide loop. He stood there for a moment, then he closed the door and went back downstairs. The years didn't announce themselves, they just came. Promotions, raises, new titles. He kept moving up because he kept saying yes. He missed his son's school play. He missed the camping trip his wife had planned. He missed his father's birthday because a client needed something by end of day. Each time he said he was sorry, and he meant it, but he also meant the other thing, that this mattered, that it couldn't wait. He told himself he was building something, security, a future, but when he came home at night, the house felt quiet in a way that had nothing to do with sound. His son got older, 13, 15, 17. They stopped trying to wait for him at dinner. The boy stopped showing him things. There was a night when his son came to him with a college acceptance letter. He was holding it in both hands, the paper still folded. His face was trying not to show too much. He looked at the letter. He said congratulations. He said he was proud, and he was. But he was also tired. He was thinking about the meeting in the morning. His son nodded, said thanks, went back upstairs. That was the moment. He didn't know it then, but that was the moment he'd think about later. He retired at 63. There was a small party. People gave speeches. He smiled. He shook hands. He went home. The house was quieter now. His son lived across the country. His wife had her routines. She went to yoga. She met friends for lunch. She'd built a life that didn't need him to show up. He tried to fill his days. He read books. He went for walks. But the days were long in a way they'd never been before, and the silence wasn't peaceful. It was full. He started thinking about the coffee shop, the one he used to pass. He looked it up once. It had closed years ago. He thought about the train set. He wondered if it was still in a box somewhere. He thought about the night his son brought him the acceptance letter, the look on his face, how badly he must have wanted him to care. He'd cared, he had, but he'd cared about something else more. He'd believed there would be time later, after the promotion, after the project. But things never settled. He started going to his son's old room sometimes, just standing in the doorway. His wife had turned it into a guest room. But if he stood there long enough, he could still see it the way it was. He wanted to call, to say something, but what could he say? His son called sometimes, every few weeks. The conversations were polite. They talked about weather, about work, about nothing. Once he almost said it. They were on the phone, and there was a pause, and he felt the words rising. But then his son said he had to go. Something about a meeting. After they hung up, he sat in his chair for a long time. He thought about all the meetings, the emails, the deadlines. He tried to remember a single one that mattered now. He couldn't. What he remembered were the small things, the way his son used to wait by the door when he heard the car pull in, the way his wife used to smile when he came home early, the sound of his son's voice calling from upstairs. He'd been so afraid. That was the truth. Afraid of failing, of not being enough. So he'd worked, because it was something he could control, because it let him believe he was doing something that mattered. But all he'd really been doing was running. He used to think retirement would feel like freedom. It didn't. It felt like arriving at a place he'd spent his whole life trying to reach, only to find that everyone he wanted to be there with had already left. His wife still slept on her side, facing the window. But now when he woke in the dark, he didn't get up. He just lay there, watching the light touch the edge of the curtain, thinking about all the mornings he'd walked past without stopping, and the train set his son had built alone.